Thanks, Rosemary. A terrific open to this session. And next up, I'd like to invite to the stage Sandy Blackburn. Sandy is from an organisation called Social Outcomes, and Sandy's going to be talking to us about Vinica Laundry. Welcome, Sandy.
So there's actually two of us giving this presentation, and there's three of us that are working on this, this project together. So Alex McDonald is off camera, but sitting just over there, here in Brisbane. So this is Luke Terry from White Box Enterprises.
Social business.
Oh, I thought we were out of camera. We get closer together. So we've been working with DFAT for the last couple of years, and the way that DFAT has been using innovative financing models to help social enterprises grow in the Pacific is to make grants to organisations such as ours, where we go and do the legwork of identifying opportunities that exist in the Pacific, and also then looking to do some investment readiness and then some capital raising. In this case, we're focused on a health social enterprise that uses three products. So they're all designed to improve the health of people in Fiji, but they're also designed to create jobs for vulnerable Fijians, so people who are excluded from the workforce, which is a key focus in the work that we all do. So the three products, you'll be familiar with two of them. One is a portable water treatment unit, which I won't go into any detail about that. The second is biodigesters, mostly for domestic use. I won't go into any detail about that. The third one we think will be of the most interest in the 5 seconds that we have to talk to you about these things. So that's why Luke is specifically up here instead of the three of us. So the third is laundries. And what you may not know about laundries is they're absolutely critical. First of all, they're a water-dependent industry, but second of all, that they're absolutely critical to disease contagion. So the World Health Organization has done some research that says that the point at which diseases get out of control in the health system is actually from poor laundry services. And we've certainly seen that in Fiji, because there isn't what's called a barrier laundry in existence in Fiji, which is why we've put that at the centre of our enterprise. So Luke's going to talk more about that in a second, but just to let you know that we're in the middle of a 5.2 Australian dollar capital raise. So the support from DFAT has allowed us through that grant to do all the legwork, but now we've been going to the market. So we've got one institutional investor locked in. We're in the middle of due diligence with a second institutional investor, but if there are other investors that would like to be involved, I suppose that's our ask of our virtual audience. But I'm asking Luke now to come and talk a little bit more about why barrier laundries are incredibly important.
Thanks so much, Sandy. In a really tricky time to raise. Look, at the moment, if you end up in a hospital or a hotel in Australia, your laundry, your sheets, your pillowcases, your towels, your bath mats will end up in a truck going to a facility. They'll end up in separate bags, and they'll go to a laundry in Australia that meets what we call the AS 4114 standards. And with those standards, it means that the laundry will go to a specific dirty area. The staff that go to that area will wear protective clothing. They'll have face masks, even pre-COVID. They'll wash their hands before they arrive. It's like your washing machine at home, but you put the washing in one side, and then there's a clear barrier wall with separate staff. It comes out the other side. It's clean. If it's health linen, it's washed to a certain temperature. If it's accommodation linen, it's washed a different way as well. And the contagion control is really safe, so that when the linen comes back to the hotel the next day or the health facility, you know that everything's been killed from bed bugs through to, whatever viruses are out there at the current point in time. And so this is really important. And in a developed country like Australia, if you go to somewhere like Tasmania or Perth that's further away than, say, Fiji, you know that your laundry will be safe to sleep on, and that you won't be picking up any bugs. The other thing is water usage. So in a traditional laundry in somewhere like the Pacific, you're using between 27 and 45 litres of water for every kilo. In Australia, we're using about 5 to 8 in our barrier wall laundries. It's a process, not a complicated water process. It simply means that at the end of the wash process, we squeeze the water out, we reuse that water at the beginning of the wash cycle, and we've worked out ways to be able to use it over and over again. And so about a year ago, Sandy and Alex say, we've been developing these projects in Australia, laundry projects and similar projects, to be able to create employment for people with a lived experience of mental illness. And they take me over to Fiji and they say, what could you do here for village workers with a lived experience of mental illness and otherwise to get their first jobs? And I remember visiting my first laundries with Alex and Sandy over in Fiji, and you realise that there is no commercial laundry market to this scale using proper techniques to make this stuff work. And that if we want proper infrastructure in these developing countries that are closer than Hobart and Perth, 3 hours that way, that we really need to be putting in this infrastructure. And this infrastructure that uses water properly, and this infrastructure that means that we can have safe linen and hygiene protection at the backbone of our health and tourism sectors, so that when we're going over to these countries for tourism, when it reopens, that our people are safe and their communities are safe, and that this is a conversation that we haven't had. And this investment, if this was in Australia, we'd just hands down do this. It just would make sense. But we need to invest in these countries and now to make this work at such a difficult time. Is that right?
Terrific. Thank you, team.